Turn down the karaoke machine, Matt.
Yeah. Wow.
And then Ron was going to try and hook us up with the folks at O'Neill's.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, speaking of Ron, Ron and
Ron and Rocco.
and his husband Rocco were at the party. And Ron is going to be speaking at Mitchell College next week.
Yep, next Tuesday night.
He will be there, and these things are open to the public.
Yep.
So
Mitchell College, the Weller Center, second floor activity room.
Yeah. So anybody that wants to go could certainly go to that.
He's going to be giving a lecture on fairies and bears.
Fairies and bears. Yeah.
Mitchell College has a great track record for diversity.
They do.
It seems like
they really do.
I'm very happy about that.
Yeah. Yeah, we like them.
Right here in sunny New London.
Oh. Yes, it's a lovely little place, and
Why wouldn't everyone want to live in New England?
yeah. No, I love New England. I love this area. I really do. There are some parts that I could do without. Freezing rain, for instance. But
Well, yeah, I was cussing New England last winter before I bought the truck.
but it is really a great place to live, and certainly the state has been very progressive, and it's
Yeah, we're nearly there.
Yeah.
We're nearly there.
We just need to get an act concerning discrimination passed this year.
Yeah, definitely.
This will be the 5th year that it goes up in front of the legislature to add gender identity and expression to the state's anti-discrimination bill, or anti-discrimination law.
Yeah, it's not too much to ask. It's just
people get very slack-jawed and wide-eyed when you tell them that it's currently legal for an employer to fire you because you're trans.
Yeah.
For a landlord to kick you out of the apartment or kick you out of your lease because they find out you're trans and they don't like that. It's unfortunately not illegal to refuse you services at many institutions because you're trans.
Yeah.
And that's something that
it's crazy.
It's
just crazy.
It's a little bit crazy.
And what's just as crazy is that this bill has overwhelming support. All it has to do is get to the floor of the General Assembly and it would pass.
In fact, 2 years ago it passed the Senate, something like 30 to 12.
Yeah.
It passed with the Senate 2 years ago with an overwhelming majority, but it was a short session and the House never brought it to a floor vote.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
That's right.
But yeah, when you actually poll the legislators, there's overwhelming support for it. It's just a matter of making it happen. This past year, it never left committee.
That's right. It got bogged down in the
Judiciary
Judiciary
Committee. It got bogged down
Committee.
in the Judiciary Committee, and we have to make sure that if Representative Lawler is still in charge of the Judiciary Committee, that he lets the committee vote on sending it to the floor this year.
That's right. Yes, I called him multiple times last year, and we'll be doing that again.
Called him multiple names in private too. But he's supported the bill in the past, and so it was probably political shenanigans.
Sure.
And we hope we hope he has the opportunity this year to express the support for the bill that he has traditionally held.
Yeah. We will be there. This year I am going to testify. Without question. I'm not letting anybody stop me this year.
That was weird last year.
That was weird last year. I was all set to go testify in Hartford, and as were a lot of people, we were all going to go testify, and we were sort of encouraged not to by one of our organizations that basically said, "Don't do it."
Yeah, got an email that said, "No, you know what? Don't come."
Which was really strange, and I thought there must be some good reason for it at the time, and I'm not so sure there was. So
Yeah, yeah. There were some logistic problems on that particular day when it came to testimony and all the other bills that were having testimony in front of the combined houses, but that really shouldn't have been enough reason to prevent people from coming.
Yeah. So this year, no matter what, I am going to go testify. So, too bad. This year I'll be in Hartford, and we're going to get this thing passed.
And we've been encouraging everyone who supports us to this fall give your legislators a call repeatedly throughout the session, because they seem to have short-term memories and they need continual reminding that that you support adding gender identity and expression to the state's anti-discrimination law.
That's right.
And you'd like them to support the bill. We don't have a number for it yet because it hasn't been raised, but once we get the information, we'll be letting you know.
Yes, we will definitely be jumping on this a lot this year. So.
And this year, we're also looking at the federal level at getting an inclusive ENDA.
That's right.
An Employment Non-Discrimination Act that includes sexual orientation and gender expression and identity.
I think that's very promising. So.
That's very, well, it's as promising as all the federal legislation is until it actually gets signed.
Yeah. I'm optimistic, though. I really am.
I know you are. I'm a little more cynical.
Yeah, all right. I know. I can be a cockeyed optimist. I agree. But this is going to be our year. So.
Well, considering it happened in in Fort Worth, and it happened in Salt Lake City, the Mormon Church, and
yeah, wow.
I expect by Christmas there's going to be a posting. Roman Catholic Church supports gays.
Well, I mean, it does seem like people are more and more stepping away from some of the churches, and I mean, and maybe in response to some of these cold and narrow stances they have, and maybe they're responding at a certain level to that. I mean, they certainly need to update.
I think that's probably quite true. That when the church takes a very narrow stance, and it says, we can't have any of this, and you have people out there that have nieces and nephews, never mind closer family, who are gay or trans or bi, and they're like, I don't want to see my niece have to go through all that. That doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
And people start to have to evaluate whether they, not necessarily reevaluate their faith, but whether that's a point that they agree with.
Right.
And we've seen across the country in the last 8 years, we've seen popular support swing in favor of treating same-sex couples equally under the law. There's not always agreement on what that should be called and how it should be granted. But generally speaking, Americans do favor treating same-sex couples fairly under the law, equally under the law.
Yeah. I believe that's true.
There's a lot of states that have passed bills that said you can't call it marriage. But
we are about out of time. It still
already
says 2 minutes on our
2 minutes?
board here,
All right.
but we are out of time. So anyway, join us next week. We have Kate Raimondi and Sandy Brindamore from Alliance for Living, and go see Ron Suresh at Mitchell College Tuesday.
And come
next
skating
Tuesday.
on Sunday at Galaxy.
Yes. Bye-bye.